Hi, this is Otto. It's another week where I'm talking about finding a theme using plein air painting. Now, today I was out painting and I went to this home in Bermuda, and you can see that it's quite an interesting setting. The house has some interesting architecture. It has this porch. There are these little pieces up here at the end of the roof which sort of really sets the roof off, and there were banana trees right in the foreground. So I wanted to do this painting where it was the mixture of architecture and foliage. Last week I did something that involved architecture. This week architecture is mixed with foliage. Then I don't start out with a theme for an exhibition, but often I will accumulate a few paintings and then I notice that they have different things in common. So that's when I would pick a theme. Every once in a while, something happens. I see something in the news. I do a series of paintings almost as a reaction to that. For every action, there's a reaction and cause and effect. Well, sometimes something that will happen will cause me to have a particular theme. Right now, I'm just going out plein air painting, and hopefully I'll accumulate a number of pieces and I start heading in a certain direction. Also, a lot of plein air paintings tend to be small. This is a small 9x12 plein air painting that I did in water mixable oil paint, and I think it was successful. The big challenge was the light shifting and shadows moving, and often in the eastern end of the island, I kind of know how houses are aligned and I know how the shadows will shift. Sometimes you go somewhere and the houses are at different angles, or you get disorientated a bit, and then when the shadows start moving you get a little confused. So I think I managed to handle that okay today. So that's the result right there. Now, early on this week I went to a panel discussion on photography, and that was done by some photographers who had worked in the Bermuda Biennial. So it was interesting because I think one artist actually presently works with film, and they actually do double exposures, but some artists were talking about moving from digital to film. And one of the things that I remember about doing film, I did it in art school, using film and following methods used by Ansel Adams. You tend to expose for the shadows and develop for the highlights. That way you won't get blown out highlights, but you can do certain things to make sure that you get detail in the shadow. So it's important getting detail in the highlights and detail in the shadow. In digital, it's almost the reverse. Expose for the highlights, otherwise you'll have blown highlights, and then you can do some manipulation and be able to get some details in your shadows. With digital, you can take an unlimited number of photos. Film, if you got a 35mm film, you're either got 24 or 36 exposures. Making that shift, you have to get used to being very selective with the images that you capture, and it takes quite a bit of discipline. One of the things that's connected with that idea of burning and dodging, exposing for the shadows and developing for the highlights, is what you do in the darkroom. In digital, you can do a similar effect. That means you can actually, using masks, do something that's very similar to burning and dodging. I actually put a photograph in a photo contest that ended at this panel discussion, and I actually got picked by the panel as the winner. There was a People's Choice winner. I wasn't the winner in that. I weren't even in the runnings in that, but I actually managed to be the panel's choice. And I did a black and white of myself in my studio. Actually, I had about 5 painted self-portraits plus myself, and it was called All Alone by Myself in My Studio. One piece self-portrait, and that's a piece that's actually on a palette. So I call that I talk with my palette. Last year the theme was for new vocabulary, and I did a triptych, and you can see the different panels of that triptych in the photograph that I did, but they're rearranged a bit. And then on the end of this setup, I have myself in a portrait that I did of myself being a bird photographer, and I had a camera. So I hope you like looking at this particular photograph, and this photograph involved doing quite a bit of dodging and burning using masking. And you can see that I'm continuing my search for a theme for an exhibition using plein air painting, and I'm also staying in touch with art by going to exhibitions or going to lectures. Actually, yesterday I was on the radio. I was on a show, A Need to Lead, and I was talking about leadership. I think it was based on being led by a picture, being led by what's put in front of you and what you see in front of yourself. And then a couple of people that I knew actually called into the radio. So that was fun. Thanks for listening again, and don't forget to look at my other work, and you can subscribe to my YouTube channel. Follow me on Facebook and Instagram. On Instagram and Facebook, my name is Otto Trott Art, and on YouTube, my channel is just plain Otto Trott. Bye.